Hi, everybody. This is Saad. Some of you have probably heard by now the famous, if not infamous, exchange that took place a couple of days ago when the senators were trying to ask questions to the nominee for Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, asking her. One of the senators asked her, can you define what a woman is? And she said she couldn't because she's not a biologist. And of course, I, along with many other people, have since satirized her in all sorts of ways. For example, I argued that I can't. I came home with a giraffe, thinking that I had adopted a dog because, well, I'm not a zoologist, so I just got confused. I didn't know. I mean, both a giraffe and a dog have a tail, four legs, two eyes, and so it's very easy for someone like me who's not a trained zoologist to know the difference. And so we've had to do all sorts of changes in our house to accommodate our new giraffe, whom I thought she was or I don't want to say she because again, I can't tell the biological sex of the giraffe slash dog. But in any case, the story is actually a lot more profoundly serious than a lot of the imbeciles who say, why do you weigh in on such matters? In 2002, many of you remember the story that I shared, which I recount in The Parasitic Mind, about me having a conversation with a postmodernist who wasn't willing to concede that only women bear children. And she thought that I was grotesquely sexist and, just a simpleton to think that only women bear children. This was in 2002. This is 20 years ago. In 2014, I went to Wellesley College to give a talk on, the precursor of the issues that eventually I covered in The Parasitic Mind. And a student asked me why did I think that it was wrong for professors to be polling their students, every class about what their gender identity was. And I gave an answer that exactly predicted what eventually would happen, as was the case when the 2002 story came up about, allowing a framework like postmodernism to question, what is male, what is female, how do we know who bears children, what is east, what is west, what do I mean by the sun rises in the east but it sets in the west? That which I say is the sun, the postmodernist said could be the dancing hyena. And then I went in 2017 to the Canadian Senate where I weighed in on Bill C-16, which has since passed, of course, the bill regarding transgender rights. And of course, to repeat for the millionth time, I fully support transgender rights. I'm about as socially liberal as one can be on these issues. That doesn't mean, though, that in the support of transgender rights, we murder the truth. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can be for noble defense, noble justice goals and defend the rights of all people to live free of bigotry without being a Supreme Court nominee who is, of course she knows what is a woman, but she doesn't have the intellectual fortitude and the necessary vertebrate to be able to say, what kind of dumb question is that? There are 17,000 ways by which I could tell you what is the meaning of a woman. Imagine that this person now she's going to be confirmed as a Supreme Court justice. How does she weigh in on topics dealing with sex? What does it mean to have an abortion? Is that related to one's biological sex? So, of course, nobody is questioning the fact that objectively the nominee can tell what a woman is. But the fact that she has to equivocate by saying, I am not a biologist, therefore this is a question outside my purview of expertise. It's not even clear that my prophetic satire could have covered this. In the 21st century, a Supreme Court justice in the greatest nation that has ever existed can't with confidence say, yes, let me give you 17 different hormonal markers, morphological markers, anatomical markers, physiological markers, chromosomal markers, behavioral markers. I could tell you about gametes, how they differ across the sexes. I could talk to you about sexual selection and the two phenotypes of the human species. I can speak of Darwin, So here are the 13 trillion ways by which we can tell that someone is a woman. But she said, hey, I'm not a biologist. Okay. So again, to the imbeciles who say, why do you satirize such stuff? Because nothing could be more serious than having the person who will sit for the next 30, 40 years on the highest court. Now, I'm Canadian again, so I don't directly have a dog in the fight, but I do believe in truth. I do believe in epistemological veracity. And when someone is so parasitically compromised that they are unwilling to state, yes, I can define what a woman is, precisely because she knows that she'll be in hot water with the blue-haired Taliban, then everything that I have predicted, everything that I wrote in this book is exactly what is happening, right? So this book is, of course, it explains patterns that happen in the past, contemporary patterns, and it explains where we are going in the future. People who are able to be good forecasters and good extrapolators are those who are able to see the underlying structure of poor thinking and say, if I push this to its illogical limit, to its boundary condition, where will it lead us? That's why I appear to be someone who suffers from Cassandra's curse. That's why I appear to be prophetic in my satire. Well, not appear to be, I am prophetic in my satire, because I'm able to take the idiocy to its, quote, logical end and tell you where we're heading. So when I satirized a field called social justice mathematics, and then it turned out to be the case that people were developing such a field, it's because I saw the lunacy that comes with being parasitized by this idiocy, and where something as invariant to your identity as mathematics could itself become parasitized by diversity, inclusion, and equity. So what makes us human is that we've got this prefrontal cortex that allows us to achieve things that are truly bewildering. It can take us to the moon. It could make us solve mathematical problems that are astronomically difficult. There's nothing more complex and mysterious in the universe, as far as we know, than the human mind. And what makes the human mind what it is its capacity to reason, to understand that if you jump from a building, you will get splattered on the ground because there's this thing called gravity. It's because we understand that from when we're born, we're able to understand the binary reality of our phenotypes. That doesn't mean that transgender people don't exist. It doesn't mean that transgender people don't deserve to be afforded every right and every trajectory towards dignity that anybody else is afforded. But it does mean that when a Supreme Court judge is asked, can you define a woman? She should have the moral compass, the epistemological compass, the dignity to say, yeah, you're looking at one, and here's how I am a woman. Okay? So you could be all progressive and all liberal and all for social justice, but be a defender of the truth. Now, when you are a Supreme Court nominee and you can't do that, that's not good. And by the way, for those of you who say, how come you blink so much? I don't blink so much. There's something with my camera that makes it such, I don't know, it's the speed of the shutter or whatever it is that does this illusion. So you don't, for those of you who worry, oh, do you have something wrong with your health? Knock on wood, no, it is just a feature of my laptop. So maybe refrain from putting such moronic comments when I'm providing you with such incredible content. Don't worry about my eyes. Worry about the content of what I'm saying. And if you support all that I do, please consider supporting this channel. You can go at just below the clip, and you can click the heart icon and donate whatever you'd like. I take great professional and personal risks to do what I do. I would challenge you to find a professor who has been as vociferous about all these issues for as long as yours truly. So if you appreciate my stuff, then certainly do your part to contribute to the battle. Thank you and take care, everybody.